Hello, and welcome to the Green Grassroots of Football with me, Andy Glover.
Me, Mark Printer.
And I would just like to thank our sponsor, Rachel's Bookkeeping, for all of your bookkeeping needs. So in the last episode, we looked at facilities within grassroots football with a particular emphasis on the playing surfaces available. And in this episode, we'll take a look at the brand and how important it is and how it can influence opinions. As normal, a quote. Branding demands commitment. Commitment to continual reinvention. Striking chords with people to stir their emotions. And commitment to imagination. It is easy to be cynical about such things. Much harder to be successful. That was Sir Richard Branson, who knows a thing or two about branding.
Yeah.
So what is a brand? To paraphrase the Ignite website, a brand is the sum total of how a club is perceived by those who experience it. This includes players, sponsors, coaches, parents, and more. Branding is the process of shaping these stakeholders' perceptions. A brand, then, is more than just a club's name, logo, or colours. Mm-hmm. It's more than the marketing or advertising around these things. A brand is the consistent and recognisable feeling that all of these things evoke. The fact that brands are intangible perceptions doesn't mean they aren't extremely valuable marketable assets. The way a player feels about a club influences their behaviour, after all, which directly impacts the club's performance. There's a reason the world's most successful companies invest millions of pounds every year in strengthening their brands. So, so you ask somebody what's the brand, and if they're chocolate fans, they might say, well, dairy milk. Yeah. No, that's actually just a product within the brand. The brand itself is Cadbury's as the brand, or, or the brand could be, part of the brand is the colour or the design or the shape. It's all part of it.
Yeah.
And so, what are your thoughts on? We'll start off with what are your thoughts on an idea of having a brand as a club, of that idea.
The brand is almost what your philosophy is and how you're perceived in the community and in the wider world. They said you can look at all brand. To have a good brand goes a long way. It is essentially what you're all about. As a company, as clubs, as individuals. You said you can go to individuals. Somebody like Ronaldo, he's a brand almost on his own.
Yeah.
The brand specifies what you're about. Maybe hard work, commitment, kindness, looking after each other, and exactly that is what certain brands are all about. You can look at certain things, quality, when you're getting into, I don't know, and a brand can be tarnished. You can't go into.
Well, yeah, exactly. Exactly. It means something like a recall of a product, and they say it can damage the brand really badly.
The class at the moment, say the Harrods brand.
Yes.
For years and years, it's quality, top air, but it's obviously going through something now. Its brand is being tarnished by somebody who's not even part of that brand.
He's dead.
Yeah, and not part of it for at least 15 years. But the brand, at the moment, I'm not
because of that association
has nosedived.
Yeah,
it's still about. But I imagine I wouldn't be surprised if when they do their end of year sales figures, and it is going to be down because the brand. Not that the staff have done anything wrong, not that the quality has changed, not that generally what their philosophy is now hasn't changed, but the brand has taken a big knock.
Yeah, definitely. And two options there they've got, I suppose, are either ride out the storm or rebrand.
Yeah.
And you think how iconic the Howard's
brand,
the colour, the logo, all that is, to rebrand, it would be a massive thing. So arguably they might have to ride out the storm.
Yeah, which I'm sure but that overall, and this is where with brands you can go up and down. At the moment, that is being tarnished. I no doubt they've got the top people at Harrods. They will be doing stuff gradually over the next 18 months.
They'll have Saatchi and Saatchi behind the scenes looking at various test
and
ideas.
It'll be so far away from the old Harrods. I mean, they even say now it's the old Harrods and the new Harrods. And you change that brand. It's how, again, as how brands, how you roll with the times and go with the ups and downs and the market, how you market your brand, how you...
Well, you look at another one. Media. Remember the big spill in North America, the Exxon Mobil? Yeah. Exxon in the UK was Esso. Almost instantly, Exxon in America became Esso.
Yeah.
They got rid of the Exxon brand very quickly and took on the Esso name as well. So that name just went because it was like it was a tarnished identity.
And that can change, and it can, and that is what some do changes.
And that's how important the brand was. Yeah, absolutely.
And it can go.
And it was just the name. It's not the whole thing, but the name is an integral part of a brand.
And that is crucial. So again, for say a grassroots club, if you get, and it is,
well, you get a bad name.
Yeah.
So I mean, without naming them, we know that some clubs can get a bad name for being rough. Yeah. Some clubs can get a bad name for being too
win at
all costs. Exactly.
And you can get, but again, that it depends.
And it becomes perceptions. It's perception, but if they get tarnished that way, they're even if their own personal brand is, oh, we're this. If that becomes the the perception of them, it can damage their brand.
And it can go really. I mean, there's the saying, isn't there? I think if you're, go out for a meal, you have a bad meal, you will tell 10 people. If you have a good meal, you will tell 2 people. So to get your brands and to get a good reputation is a lot harder. It can be destroyed very quickly.
Yeah.
And in today's world of social media and stuff like that, it doesn't take a lot.
No, not at all.
Okay, I mean, and when you're looking at the bigger picture and stuff, and how much it can change, and once you've got that reputation, there's the celebrities in the news this week. Now, again, you hear little, but once it starts, the amount of people that are suddenly coming out of the woodwork and stuff, and no matter what he does now, he's finished.
Yeah.
He's finished. And from the sounds of it, he's done nothing illegal.
Well, until about 5 years, he decides to do a comeback on some reality show.
Yeah.
But it's going to take a while before he gets any chance of redemption. He is, absolutely.
He's a brand, and within...
For those unaware, it's a cooking show on the BBC. We won't say any more just in case.
Within 10 days, his brand is gone.
Yeah. It's his name, it's the company that's behind him, it's everything, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's what he represents.
And what and everything that it stands for, and which is weird, but and that brand has, and him as an individual in the brand has been really tarnished. But you can also, depending on how you deal with things, it can work out. There, another BBC show's had a really bad year for their brand, a dancing show. And they were saying, "Oh, this is going to affect it." Blah blah blah. The ratings have gone up this year because the brand has survived. They've managed to ride that storm out and dealt with things in a certain way. So, with brands, with again how to run football clubs and local grass and how you do it, you actually now need people who are very savvy at the social side of it. How to put stuff out onto social media, how to market your stuff. If you get, if something bad does happen, well, how do you?
You need firefighters, essentially, don't you?
Yeah. And that's.
And I don't mean that in the physical sense. I mean that in the sort of looking after any issues. You go in there and you firefight any problems.
And you do need to. I mean, I think say the dancing show and this cooking individual. The dancing show wrote it out, did proper investigations, did this, did that. The thing that I think riled a lot of people,
the middle class.
Yeah, it was the comment that he's made, which was obviously not done via a professional. When he's in a bad mood or whatever, and he's put a social post out there, which is just not gone the way he'd hoped for.
Yeah.
And that comment is actually, I think, fueled a lot more against him than what he was actually being accused of. But if he'd have gone to somebody who was in the social, who knew that
an advertising company,
and so I'm going to put this post out, and he'd have gone, no, you're
they
not.
would have said, for your brand, you need to keep quiet.
Yeah,
for the sake of your
just
brand.
write it out,
Yeah,
and then. So if you've got, and so like I said, to get a good brand, to get a good reputation as a football club, or anything, and with a football club here, takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of thing. But it can, and you said you do need more and more, maybe younger people now, more and more who are clued in how you keep that brand, because it doesn't take a lot for it to get destroyed.
Be easily destroyed, yeah. Brand benefits, 7 major benefits to a strong brand. So it can increase the brand recognition, improves player loyalty to your brand, positive word of mouth marketing, higher advertising effectiveness on customers, as in you put advertising on Facebook or whatever, larger influx of players wanting to play for your brand. Yeah. And that's not just necessarily about word of mouth. That could be a successful teams as well. And we see that. The teams who are at the top of the divisions attract players every year, and that comes through that successful brand identity. Engaged volunteers who are proud to be associated with that brand, and the established trust to gain credibility. And that's the benefits of a strong brand. So it improves player loyalty. I mean,
I think
if your players know that it's a good club, and for instance us, we engage with the community, we do things hopefully the right way, family friendly and everything else, the players want to be part of it. Yeah, no,
it is good. I mean, we were fortunate enough. We're a small. I still say we're a small club. We're a friendly club that is not about win at all costs, blah blah blah, etc. We were fortunate enough from the good, and it takes a lot of hard work. We did have a visit from the Somerset FA, and the thing that they were most impressed with was the amount of volunteers that we had, how everybody's opinion counted, how everybody was singing from the same, not hymn paper, but the same philosophies, the same ethos, and that came round, and that has enhanced the Fry Club brand within the area. What we do as a club, what we do with Summerdale here, even we invite every team back for food afterwards. That has given the Fry's brand throughout the area a hell of a lift.
A real boost, hasn't it?
Yeah,
yes.
Everybody talks, you go elsewhere, Fry's are known for this, Fry's are known for that. And it's being generally a very friendly club. And bizarrely, I would certainly say and when you even see some of the boys things, now you're getting that reputation. We're getting more and more players. How many we have is going up, and actually the quality of where the play is now coming up, and the results and stuff are coming up. I was looking at our league. I said classic examples are under 16s girls. They are they're undefeated in the league, doing really well. Their reputation going through was always one, and they've gradually built it up of being friendly, being part of a team, being that brand. You actually then get a good type of player come up into you any case, because you open up a reputation of being safe. And that's now the same, the boys with Gary who's running that, and that already in that short period has changed. I mean, our potential issue that we might have here is we could be too
inundated for the space.
And that's when there are other issues that come with it.
But we've talked about ways around that in terms of adjusting time, kickoffs, and all those sorts of things.
And there's things
we can do, isn't there?
But so your brand, I do think a lot of it is down to our brand.
But one of the things here, it benefits positive word of mouth marketing. That's what I mentioned that a minute ago. I go back to, we had, I think 6 or 7 years ago, one girls team. We've got, I think it's like 12 or 13 now, plus the women. That can't all have just come along organically. That it has to be a lot of that through positive word of mouth.
Yeah. And
you know, that number of players.
You do know that we've got the reputation of trying to do things the right way, and it ain't always right, and it can go wrong. It's a learning.
We are learning,
but we are lucky. I think what we try to do, in most cases, is we know the people that we've got, and everybody that's here. I think they're fantastic about mountain coaches. All the people that come here, they commit, and they do it all for the right reason. There's not many egos here. I think egos wouldn't last long here.
We're not that sort of club that want to push that sort of philosophy, are we?
And it's not about win at all costs. And we said it's to be. I think grassroots, again at our level, is to be part of the community and to have a good reputation within the community. So we said we do charity events. It's for them to be a part of a big community, and that is generally what most grassroots clubs are all about. And to be fair to the bigger clubs, the EFL clubs, I think, and certainly I'm sure it is the same in the Premier League clubs, they are understanding that more now, and there is more and more to that. So when you look at, say, the Bristol City brand, if you actually look at all the, obviously you've got the first team for City, if they've got a walking team, an over 65s team, a disability team, PAN teams, college teams, deaf
through
teams,
their foundation, through their community foundation thing,
So that whole brand of what Bristol City, and it's the same for Bristol Ravers, Forest, and all of them. That is what football does do. If you then take away the big brand, the main, at the pitch, which is fantastic. Actually, what they do, which probably doesn't get highlighted enough. Again, the same for all the clubs. And again, I've been criticised of what big clubs don't give enough money down. But actually, when you do look into it, there is quite a lot what they do. And then as a grassroots club, we are part of the Keynsham community here. We've got, I think, roughly, if we say 500 players.
500.
So that's 500 families. So you run 1,500. And suddenly the community, and who knows, Fry's is probably nearer 3,500, 4,000 people. Well, the population of Keynsham is probably not much more than 10,000. 10, 15, I don't know. 25,000. But it's still
a good chunk.
20%.
Still a good chunk.
I've got something with Fry's, and then you add what Keynsham Town have, Red Falcons who are here. So you probably are looking at 20, 30%. Well, and if not more, I imagine most people in Keynsham know somebody who plays for Red Falcons, Fry's, or Keynsham Town. So you're a big part of that community, a big part of the brand. So your brand and what you do, and each of those three clubs have got slightly different brands and reputations. All of them good. They all do good things within the community, and most of the clubs do.
Don't get me wrong. When I talk about, I've mentioned Bitton a number of times in previous pods because of their ethos. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's because they want their philosophy is to get the better players to feed their adult team who are at step sort of 4, 5, 6, whatever it is. I'm not saying that's bad because of it. I'm just saying that's a different philosophy to us.
And each one has, like I said, Red
There's nothing wrong with that, but that's because they have got that philosophy of they need to feed the adult team who are in that level. And I've never actually said that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that's their philosophy. Ours is different. Brand benefit again, which I'll go back to this list of 7. Engaged volunteers who are proud to be associated with the brand. And as you mentioned a few minutes ago, we had Rachel from the Somerset FA here 2 weeks ago, and she was massively impressed with the number of volunteers. You escorted her around. What was her general thoughts?
I said she was blown away, and it said it is by we generally, and again, this is what I learned from you, is that each team ideally has 3 or 4 volunteers. That way, if one's poorly or one's out, you've got somebody there. So each team, but to get a balance right of having 3 or 4 coaches running a team without the ego and getting on. That takes a lot of getting the right personalities to work with each other. So that is something which she was very impressed at, because that is what it does take. Because if you've got one or two, it's difficult. So
it's a struggle, yeah.
So to have all these people, to have a strong thing, but again, it's hard. And look, to be fair, as you said, it's hard work to get that organised, to get that in place. I said, again, even the people above in the committees, all volunteers, to get all people, to get these people to give up their time and each and every single one of them is awesome.
Absolutely.
But you almost have to get, when they come in, that are what we stand for.
Yeah.
That it is, to win is lovely, to have success is fantastic on the pitch, but we are club, and you've got that philosophy. You want these individuals to be playing sport, to be part of a team, to help their thing, mental and physical health, all the way through to life, to make them better individuals in life.
And understanding that as a club we have a link with not an official link, but a link to a charity that we try to support as well, and that's part of our commitment to to getting the children to understand there's bigger things than just us.
Yeah, there's bigger things
and that's part of the brand.
Yeah, there's bigger things than them in life, and they're important, and they're the most important, but to have consideration. And as I said, the big thing, like I said, Rachel was impressed with what we do, is community.
Yes.
The events that we put on for me, the events that we do are just as important as the football on a Sunday.
And that's still that also falls under our brand.
Yeah, it's definitely
the
under
events
our brand.
Absolutely.
That's the brand which you want. The football is there. It's the main, it's a big chunk of it.
That's the reason of existence, but that's not the actual brand itself.
No.
The brand is the wider thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's getting to them to know being part of the community is the brand.
So what is our brand name? Fry Club JFC. That is the one of the argue the key part of our brand is our name. You walk around or you drive around, whatever, you visit sites and you enter tournaments or whatever, and you can go quite wide because you've taken teams down into Somerset. You go back to our previous team, my previous team before that. I've taken teams up to Gloucester, Wiltshire. Yeah. You've taken teams around. Gloucester, our last team, we took a team to Holland. Yeah. So that name has travelled far and wide. Other teams within the club have gone on tours all over the place. So the name travels.
What I must admit, I'm saying he's not here, but the other team, which I do like, one idea which I will look to nick, is that they have their logo. So you've got the stickers.
Yeah.
That they get their coaches and stuff to put the stickers and stuff on different locations.
Oh, do they?
So if you go to Alton Towers, and all sort of every theme park, I think, in England has somewhere hidden or around a red falcon.
Probably been rubbed off by now, but yeah.
Yeah, but no, and they take photos and stuff like that.
Really?
And it's
what a great idea!
Stadiums and so they've got their. So you can see their photo of the red falcons.
Remind me of that. I might see if I can get some stickers. That's a really cool idea.
And then that gets that. Well, who the bloody hells? And they said it has the thing, and they look at it. So their reputation and their brand.
Okay, so let's take that. Let's us take that further by getting our sticker with our logo, but a QR code as well.
Yeah.
Because the QR code then scans it and it goes, "Who are this club?"
Yeah.
And the QR code, because I wonder if I think they got the logo.
It's the logo.
Have they got a QR code?
They haven't got the QR code. No, I've not seen. I've certainly seen the logo.
So if they that's a good idea. But imagine if you put a QR code with it as well, so somebody can scan it and go, "Oh, that's who it is." Yeah. And admittedly, they can come out and say, "Excuse me, are you littering?"
But yeah, so that is, and I said it's genius. It said it's getting their brand.
It is. That's exactly what it is.
Getting it out into the. What most people go with the blimmin' hell was that and what's that?
But that leads on to the second part of the what is our brand, the badge, and that's exactly what they're using, the badge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our badge is 3 ships and is it 2? As Mark's wearing it on his shirt.
No.
3 ships and 2 cocoa beans, because obviously we're based in Bristol, and Bristol used to be a cocoa importer from the West Indies, and then on one part it's got an F and the other one has got a C for Fry Club. But yeah, because Bristol used to be a major port, our badge is essentially 3 ships, 2 cocoa beans, and FC. And then our motto is, I'll show it again just to remind me, is Kuahi, which is we stand alone together.
And this is where, as I said, I wear my coat quite a lot. And again, how a brand, how it can also be destroyed very quickly. If I went out wearing this coat and decided I was going to, rob a bank, or do anything like that, so all over national news, I'm with this coat and this brand, and they will go, "Oh, who's that? That's Fry Club JFC, and he's just robbed a bank." Your reputation, your brand, like that, is gone.
Yeah, absolutely.
So as I said, with brands, like we said, it takes a long time to build a brand up, to build it. Then once you're there, to keep it is also hard. In today's modern world, it can go very quickly.
Absolutely. Yeah, so the motto is also part of our brand. Like I said, Kuahi, which is we stand alone together, which I think is also, we stand together.
Yeah, which is what it is
as
all
one
about.
group. We all stand together as one group. Colours is another one. Home, blue, away, red. But you go anywhere in Bristol and you see royal blue, and almost certainly you know that's us.
Yeah.
You go anywhere in Bristol, you see a green and white.
Same there. Warmly,
Christina white. Light blue is
green
almost
black.
certainly Bocco.
Yeah.
Sorry, green and black. Sorry, it's warmly. Yeah. Stripes.
Yeah.
A light blue, it's almost certainly Bocco.
Yeah.
You know, yellow probably
Avon.
Avon Athletic. So you know the teams.
Yeah.
You know, because certain colours. Yep, white, absolutely. So colour is very important to the brand as well. It's just as important as the name, the badge. You know, colour can be just as important, or not necessarily, not even the colour, but the colour and the layout.
Yeah, the design.
The design. So if you walk down the street and you saw blue and white quarters,
is Bristol Rovers.
you know that's Bristol Rovers. Yeah, it's just as important. You know.
So it's
So dark green, for those who know from my mother's origins, is Plymouth.
Yeah.
Plymouth Argyle, and there's very few other clubs who wear that Plymouth Argyle colour.
No.
So there are that part, and it's just an important part of the brand.
Yeah.
If it's a recognisable thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Positioning. Now, I say positioning. We are positioned as a family-friendly club, and that, I think, is almost one of the most important part of our brand.
I think so.
It's the ethos, the philosophy. Yeah, it's almost the name is there, the badge is there, the colours are there, but what attracts people is the ethos, the philosophy. Yeah, they hear about us. They hear about a club that are doing this. They don't know until they turn up what our badge is. They don't know until they turn up what our colour is. They're told, "Oh, Fry's, yeah, okay, that's Fry's. Oh, fair enough then." But that means nothing to them.
No.
But they hear that the club, this is what the club's about.
And what we stand for.
And what we stand for. And that, and I've got below it values. But values kind of tie into the same thing. The ethos, the values, the positioning of our club, what we stand for. Probably the most important. Yeah, important.
Is very important, and looking out for everybody, and
that's taken a while. Again, it's taken a while to build up. Because I mean, I've been at the club now 30 years, and I would argue that whilst we provided football when I first joined, and it was boys' when I first joined in 30 years ago. We were good. It was good football, and it was like we were nice to everybody. Everyone played, and all that sort of thing. There was never a thought about how can we do it for the community. It was just like we provided football. Here's my team. That's your team. Boys come along and play. There was never a thought about a joined up. We are this bigger thing to provide anything. We were a club. Don't get me wrong. We were one club, But there was never I don't think there was ever a wider thought about how we stood as a philosophy. It was just we were a series of teams that formed ourselves as a club, and we went out and played on back then Saturday morning and Saturday afternoon. But that was what we were, not the actual position in the philosophy of the values. That's come over the last sort of 10, 15 years to where we are now. Much more important. What do you think?
Yeah, no, totally. And again, it's developing it and moving it and change. Times have changed. Times have so changed to what it was 15, 20 years. We've developed as a club now, and there's still lots to do and still a long way to go. But we are now probably 50. It is as close to 50% boys, 50% girls.
Yes.
So that then incorporates everyone. The philosophy again has changed. We've now started a disabled training team. So that's changed. So that's building, and they won't play games. I don't think we'll be looking to play games for them. If we play within 5 years, I'd be amazed.
If we had a 3G surface, we could start a walking team.
Yeah,
and I would love that as well.
Yeah,
I'm at the age I'd love to play walking football, but I would want to do it here. I'll be honest. This is why I want to do it.
So that will change. You have to go with the times, and this is where I was saying again. I think I've done quite a bit over the last few years. Probably my social media skills and stuff. It now needs to progress into the younger people to do it. And for me, my son Brad, I think eventually will be a big part of this club going forward.
He's already taken on roles, hasn't he?
Yeah, and there's people like again from our team. We were lucky that Jacob, Bradley, Harry, Corey, Ollie. There's Charlie. Alfie, there's these sort of people that are within that team. You then have, as a club, right, so you've got these now under 18 players, but you want them to be part of the club. Now, they might not play as football, but they might be able to do stuff within your club, within your community. They're your next generation. You've got to encourage them to be part of it. And then we've got, I said, our under-16s girls teams, and then the under-14. So they're going to be the future of the female game going forward at Fry's. You can't sit on, no offence to you or myself, but we're the older, you can help and guide, but you've got to let them, they know what the future, and again with your brand, but you don't want to be a brand of old stuffy.
No, they've got to come through and then take it and progress it.
And get that brand.
As I said, 30 years ago, essentially our brand was this. It's evolved and changed, and it has to evolve and change. That's the whole point of what Mr. Branson was talking about. It has to evolve. It has to change.
Yeah,
it's continual. That's exactly what he says in my quote at the start from him. Continual reinvention.
Yeah,
and that's what it needs.
And this is what he said. Where we are now. You want the general brand to be the same, hopefully, of being community and blah blah blah. But how they develop that is, what will happen. He said. For Fry's, for me as if I'm looking at me, it's more Brad and Corey and Emmy than me. How I help and stuff is I've probably got 2 or 3 years left. It's then more to them and to bring them on or whoever. We're
under 11. You've got 5 years left.
Yeah, 5 years left. So you've got and there are other coaches. I mean, the classic coach that we've got here is Ben. The experience and stuff that Ben has got. There's I've got Ben. There's a gentleman in my team, Ryan. But from a female thing, we've got Rachel and Sarah and all these sorts of people. Before we probably get to Brad, are the next group.
Yeah.
Because Ben, Ryan, and that's just 4 of the top. I said speaking
Younger,
to Howard,
new ideas.
Joe, Liam.
Yeah.
There's
Ellie in my team and your team. Yeah.
So there's suddenly 10 or 12 people you've got there who are, let's say, it's between 30 and 40 in that age bracket.
Younger with new ideas,
who will then take it on, and then you've got but you can't be afraid to let them
do it.
do it.
You got to say, run with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And potentially with some clubs, some brands, you get to the point of people won't let go.
Well, you know what, funny enough, I think I've mentioned this before. I may have mentioned this before. When back 30 years ago, I think it was the first year, we were at the Hannah Minor League meeting, and it was like the AGM, and one of the club secretaries stood up and said, to the Hannah Minor League committee, you guys have been here too long, you've held on too long, you've got to go. Us secretaries, and there was like 5 or 6 in the room, who basically all stood up, said, we've had enough, we're changing things. And they put themselves forward and everyone voted for them.
Yeah.
And they completely swept the Hannah Minor League committee away and said, this is what we're doing. And they obviously had gone around and talked to other secretaries and to got them, but they'd had enough with the non-changing way, and they were new, younger, new ideas, and it just complete. I don't know what the Hannah Minor League was before then, because it was like my first year, but that was what they did. They came in, and it was revolution.
And you've got to do it. And I think that the brands and the successful brands do that. They go with it.
And I tell you what, when I was only playing in the Hannah Minor League a few years before that, in fairness, 5 or 6 maybe years before, or even youth league, but I can remember seeing it, and it had 1 division. Now it's got like at the young age 10, 12 divisions per age group almost. At that age, they've expanded and expanded. They've taken it so far forward from what it was.
And you said brands have to evolve and stuff. So I said there's all those people, and Gary, who's taken on the boys team, is changing Fry's boys brand. Yeah. And doing everything. Again, he's younger, and it's fantastic. And you have to evolve. It's nothing wrong with the old. You can be part of it, but you've got to let it go.
Yeah. The last one on my list. You actually mentioned social media. I've got a website, and that includes things like your fonts, and that's again, it's part of your brand. Yeah. Even the font and the setup and all those sorts of things. It's a little thing, but that's still an important part. If your brand is this font at this style and even this color palette. Yeah. Because where I work, we have set color palettes for when we're producing graphics. Yeah. And it's all part of it. And it does help you put out a consistent message. Yeah. Same color. It's not not using the same 2 colors. Your color palette is like 10 colors. Yeah. But it's you might choose 3 from that and 3 from that, but it gives a consistent message. And that's I recognise those colours. That's that company. Yeah. And
it makes a difference. And it like I think with brands and stuff, they always say it's the subtle things. Yeah. People don't realise that, and subconsciously without. And you don't think about it.
Well, funnily enough, people said, someone mentioned to me about the FedEx logo. If you look in the FedEx logo, the way the D and the E is lined so together, there's a little arrow pointing to the right. And once you've seen it, you're like, oh yeah. And it's pointing, the right pointing arrow means obviously movement. Yeah. Because FedEx are delivering. Yeah. And that was part of the redesign when they rebranded. It's only a subtle thing. Once you see it, it's like, oh yeah, pointing that way. Yeah. It's movement because they're delivering. And it's all little things like that, part of the designs.
And that means
it's part of their brand. They deliver and look, we're moving.
And however you do it and what you do it. I mean, for me, a big part of, is you again, it's simple manners, pleases and thank yous, and that's.
Well, we are known as a polite club, and again, that's part of our positioning and values. Yeah, it's part of the brand, isn't it? Yeah.
So brand is all important. But
all right. I think we're coming to an end. Any final thoughts on brand and your thoughts on within the club?
It's important. Work hard at it and evolve, but it can't be destroyed quickly. Have the right people in to, like we said, fight fires, because it can happen.
I mean, my final thoughts. Anyone who knows me, I'm really big on the colour. I really am. And people who knows me, and I'm sure Mark's probably rolling his eyes now. Part of that though is because I was here as a player, and so that was our colour. But also because so few play in that colour, and so I think it's a good money saver. However, what I'm going to say is positioning, ethos, values is so much more important.
It is.
So, but on that note, that's it. Thank you all very much. Mark, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Andy. Thank you, listeners.
Thank you, listeners. And we'll come back in 2 weeks' time for our next pod. Thank you all very much.
Good night.
If you like this podcast, then please email us your questions, comments, random thoughts, anything you want to share with us at greengrassroots@gmail.com. You can contact Mark and Andy through X at Fry Club JFC, on Facebook via Fry Club Junior FC, and the Fry Club website is www.fryclubjfc.co.uk. You could also type out a fantastic review on Apple Podcasts or give us 5 stars on Spotify. You've been listening to a We Haven't Got a Clue What We're Doing production, produced and edited by Andy Glover.